All right. We're live here. We're live. We're live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Give me 1 second. Sorry for running so behind. Once again, we have Chris that's going to be at his establishment at his home front. What's up, Chris?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Can't call it. Ran a little behind today. My apologies for those of you that don't know or do know. I do own a security company, and I had a meeting today with a client once again, so I do apologize for that. But we are here today. We are here. We are getting ready. I got some deep conversation going on today. I can't wait to discuss it. Here we go, Chris. We're going live on Facebook also at this time. Hello, Facebook. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. Chris, as you see, will be working from his home front again today. He will not be here. We'll be teasing each other and moving forward with stuff. Let me fix my collar. I got something about a collar not being done. Sorry so much, and I do apologize, everyone. I do own a company called Guardian Capital Security, and we had a meeting today that I had to handle on site, but I do apologize. And Chris, thank you so much for waiting. So let's just get right to the nitty gritty. Let's just get right to it today. So, Chris, I know that you weren't informed on what we were going to be speaking today, and I do extend my apologies. Something's going on with my phone. I don't even know what's going on with it, but my wife says the same thing. She's like, I didn't get your messages, or you didn't answer the calls. But obviously I sent it to you and you just said the same thing to me. So something's going on with it. So first of all, brother, how you doing? Everything good?
I'm doing good, man. Everything's good. I like this stuff. I almost feel like I'm important doing a conference call on the computer. Not like the old days, man.
Well, that's what happens when we forget about society and we don't do anything in person anymore, and we just use our computers and our phones. What do they call that thing? What do you get now? Tech neck or something like that? They're saying because people are looking down at their iPhone so much that you got to have a hunchback.
Yeah, there will be hunchbacks, and kids won't know how to talk to each other.
And they'll have big freaking big thumbs there because from pushing down on things all the time because they only working with their thumbs. So
I heard that thumb wrestling is going to become an Olympic sport.
Listen, dude, you're talking about that. So that's just funny. You just said that. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this thing the other day, and they have that Dana White thing where he's got that new thing, not the UFC, the slap, where they slap people.
That's crazy.
Right? And I'm sitting there. Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, step one, I don't want nobody punching me in the mug or slapping me in the mug. Why? I don't even care. What did they get? Like $5,000 to get smacked in the face or broken jaw? And I'm looking at this dude's face all swollen. But you know what made me laugh? Like somewhere outside this country, bro, they now have a butt slap. So there's females that are inside the UFC ring and they're bent over with thongs on and they're being smacked in the butt.
See, that's not bad. Hey, man.
You're biased, man. That's what it is. So listen, everybody, welcome to Security Tales, where we keep it real, keep it sharp, and we talk about the real matters. Today, I want to start by supporting. Now, Chris, once again, this is me speaking. You can follow up right after I say it, but I'm gonna say I want to start out by supporting President Trump's decision on the tariffs. Folks might be scared, saying prices are going to skyrocket, but the truth is, this is a strategic, right? So it's more of, I look at it as a strategy, right? We've been getting played by global trade for too long. Countries like China have been dumping cheap goods, undercutting American industries, and taking advantage. Trump's tariffs, they're a move to level the playing field, protect our workers, our industries, and our economy. It's a Boston move. You know what I mean? It's like we're always trying to get ahead of the game. It's tough, it's smart, and it's about taking control. Sometimes you got to take the hit, right? Now to come out stronger later, and I support that. So I know that's my beginning of my intro, but what do you think about what I said about that, Chris? Just that intro alone.
Yeah. I think whatever people charge us, we should charge them. We are in control, like he says. He just has a real bad delivery, and I've heard
Absolutely.
numbers between 26. USA has 26 to 40% of the world's GDP. So we are the biggest customer, by far, from multiple countries. I mean, if we have even 30% of the world's GDP, I think that's why he says a position of power. We are in a position of power, and I mean, I think the tariffs. I think the tariffs are good. It's going to hurt, and the stock market isn't the economy. The stock market is just people speculating. Trying to buy low, buy high, get in, get out. So it's really not indicative of the actual economy that we live in. And I don't think anyone's really felt the price of the tariffs yet. They keep on talking about it, but no one's actually felt the price.
So you know what I find interesting though? When it comes to tariffs, right? They are putting tariffs on the product of the goods that they pay, right? Not with, let's say they sell us a TV for $100 here, right? They're not saying you're paying the tariff on that. You're paying the tariff on the $10 it costs to make that. That's what I when I was researching it, it says that you're paying the tariff on the product before the sale of the product. So if the product only costs you $5 to make, that's what you're being tariffed on, not what it's going to be charged over here when you get it here. So I'm trying to figure out, is that
Right.
So that's what I
So in
saw.
reality, it's not going to be that much. And ever since the existence of tariffs, which has been a while, a lot of times, probably it's a percentage, the manufacturer actually sucks up the tariff. So on that $100 TV or whatever, so say the tariff is just for a number, the tariff's $10. Well, and the company's making $20 on the TV, they may choose to absorb $6, $7, $8 worth of that tariff because their choice is they need to. If it's not cheap, we're not going to buy it, and that's the whole thing. They sell us cheap stuff, and we buy it, and sometimes the company of origin will absorb the tariff because otherwise they won't sell it.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, Tommy, the comments are on, and yes, I'm back, and I do extend my apologies. Once again, I do own another company, and I had to see a client today. I do extend my apologies on that. But we are discussing today, Tommy, about tariffs and then some other stuff that we're going to add in. And Chris is on live also. He's on the Zoom. So, yeah, so go ahead, Chris. Sorry about that.
No, so I mean, I think it's a good idea, and it's I've always had like a model, like say for example, you go in for surgery or something like that. It's sometimes you have to take one step backwards to take two steps forward.
Now you have to take one step backwards to move two steps forward, which I'm not disagreeing with, and I love that concept, and I love what you said. But also, what I found interesting is with once again, because I try to read so many different types of news and I listen to podcasts and stuff like that to collectively get everything together. Somebody had stated in one of the articles that China had threatened another country or threatened all countries, saying that if they were to follow Trump in what he's doing, that they're going to suffer the same as they are. So what do you think was meant by that?
Yeah. Well, I think what we talked about before, and there's probably 20 other countries that I'm going to miss, but other countries should see this as an opportunity. Philippines, Taiwan, and 100 other countries that are looking to grow and become more powerful and get more money for their people. They need to see this as an opportunity. Like I said, there's probably 20 countries out there. So this opportunity is they can fill the void of where China has left off. So China is threatening them that they don't want them to fill their void because they would become even less powerful with us. Whatever they produce, if we can make up 30-40% of what they give us, and China becomes less and less important. And that's how China fuels their war machine, and how it builds all the ships that they're building, is through exports. And that's why they're doing it. It's kind of like when Biden allowed Iran to sell oil, or when he gave them the $5 billion years ago to stop enriching uranium. And they're like, okay, we'll stop, just give us the money. And they gave them the money. And so now they use that money from the oil and the money that we gave them. And that's how Iran supports the Houthis and all that other people. So it's kind of like a whole ball of wax. The more revenue we give them, the more aggressive they can be towards us.
Yeah, but how about the other side of it? Because you had mentioned about the stocks tumbling and this and that. So yesterday, right, the stock market had a pretty terrible day, right? Couldn't because once again, I follow Ben Shapiro and I listen. And one of the biggest things he said was it was down by 1,000 points in the Dow Jones. In industrial average, gold was up, bond yields were up, and basically meaning that people are moving away from the bonds. They're moving towards gold. They're moving away from stocks. Like, I'm kind of lost with that.
Well, Pete, all right, so the stock market, like we've talked about it ourselves, right? We're a perfect example. The stock market goes down 1,500 points, and me and you, so now it goes down. So now me and you go, all right, oh, great time to buy. So people are just trying to make money. I mean, they're buying, they're selling, and people who are in it aggressively, who have giant clients who can actually monitor it on a daily basis, can really make some money if they, speculating. So the stock market goes down 1,000, I'm going to buy the stock market, and then I'll sell. And, if you have a $1 billion portfolio, you're talking some real money.
Yeah, but you're talking about 13 to 15 points, right? That's what they're saying. Like the Dow's down right now.
I think Dow was up. I think it was up yesterday, like a couple hundred, and it was down the day before. But that's what it is. It's an opportunity for making money. People are bouncing in and bouncing out of the market, and that's what's making the fluctuations. So when the market goes down and then people panic and sell, and then you get other people who at the end of the day are buying at the low, that's what's fueling this roller coaster. Because if you think about it, the tariffs really hasn't changed. It's not like he's announced, I'm tariffing more, I'm tariffing less, I'm doing in the last week or two, but yet the market has been up and down greatly. And he wants, what will help soften all of the stock market is if the Fed lowers the rate, which makes borrowing cheaper for everybody. So if the Fed lowers the rate, that will help.
Yeah, but don't you think that's bad if we lower the inflation rate right now? Like, really think about it. We haven't been this low. We haven't been this low since April of what, 1990? I think, what was it? He said 1932. This is the lowest it's ever been since the year 1932, bro. Like, legitimately, the market. I'm still talking about the market, but we're discussing the inflation in order to rise the market up. But isn't that what Biden did? Biden did that in his term, bro, and screwed up.
No, not inflation, the federal funds rate. If the federal funds rate if they lower that will stimulate growth. Federal funds rate is the rate in which the Fed loans money to banks. So that they loan money to banks so that they can loan money to people. So if we lower the federal funds rate, their rate's cheaper, they're going to lower it to people cheaper, and people are going to buy more stuff, stimulating the economy. Like right now, if I needed a car, I postponed it for a year just because I wouldn't want to pay 5% interest or 7% interest on a car. But if some manufacturer came out and they were doing 0.9% interest, a lot of people are going to buy cars. So if we lower the rate, which also, that's for mortgages and everything else. It's not the inflation rate, it's the federal funds rate that he wants to lower. That's why he was talking about the chairman, because the chairman's in control of that.
But when you're discussing about that, right? If we're going after the federal rates, right, like you just said, wouldn't that depend on the economy and the Federal Reserves in order to do that? Like, for the goals for that? Because the economy's experience of a slow growth is what you're saying, right? Is that why you're saying that it should?
No.
Or is it a potential recession?
No, it would stimulate growth. The lowering of the rate, which lowers everything, would stimulate growth.
Would
Is
it,
anyone
would
more
it,
inclined to buy a?
but hold on, would it stimulate the growth or would it stimulate the economy activity by making borrowing cheaper? So would that cause people, if you lower it, would people spend more money?
Yes, yeah, one and the same. You know, if you needed a car but weren't desperate, you know, are you more inclined to buy the car at 2% interest rate or 7% interest rate? You know, because that has to be added into your payments, right? So you're more inclined. If I'm more inclined to sell my house and buy another house, I don't want to, I don't want to get into a 7% mortgage. I want to get into a 2% mortgage. So by lowering rates makes things cheaper. People borrow more, spend more, which stimulates the economy. So basically, stimulating the economy and borrowing kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, but I'm kind of confused. So you're basically saying lowering the rates, right? You're saying right now, lowering the rates encourages borrowing, right? And spending, which can boost the economic, right, activity, right? And prevent the ease of recession. But now because we have this tariff and it's going to cut back on the work supply and the employee supply, where are people going to get the money in order to combat that to spend more money?
Well, the tariff's not going to cut back so much on the work supply.
Hold on, I'm being scolded, Chris. Christine says, "Can I put you closer to the mic?" Hold on.
Me or you?
No,
Me.
you, because you're coming in. All right, I just raised it.
Wait.
All right, go ahead.
So, all right. What was the question?
So one of my questions was lowering the rates encourages borrowing, right? This is what I'm obviously I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm taking it in.
Right.
So it encourages the borrowing and spending, which can boost the economic activity. That's what we're basing it on and prevent an ease of recession. Now my question is, right? So now we do that, and now because the tariffs have now been implied, now what happens to people like me that own the businesses that are losing positions now because of the tariffs have affected the locations that we cover and they can't get their supplies. So now you're saying that it boosted, but what's there to boost if there's no money? We're losing employees.
No, the tariff is, like I said, is whatever. It's 10%. The manufacturer might absorb some, but the tariff is, it's not going to really lower supply because if you want a widget and you usually get it from China for $1, you may have to pay $1.05 to get it from somebody else, or you may still get it from China for $1 or somewhere in between. It's just in the end kind of costing. I don't want to say this, but in the end costing the consumer more money. So it's really not going to affect your supply because almost anything you want you can get from many different resources. You want that picture frame back behind you, you can get it from China for $10, or you can get it from maybe 5 other countries for a little bit more. So yes, it may cost you more in the short run, but the idea behind the tariffs is it's only on anything that's imported. So what it's going to do is maybe make you buy that picture frame from the United States. So you buy it from the United States, which gives that company more money, which gives the employee more money, and the employee keeps his job, and/or they add more jobs because now they need to make more picture frames because China was 10% cheaper than them, but now with the tariff, they're the same. So if you have a choice between a China or United States product, hopefully you choose the United States product because it encourages you to buy locally. And all these tariffs to all these companies and anything across the board doesn't apply if the product is made in the United States. So just think one last thing about the long game. So say, for example, China just sells the stuff for the next 10, 20 years. They sell it at a loss almost. They sell it cheap, like millions and millions of things. And we just rely on them more and more. Our pharmaceuticals, who rely on them, by the way, we rely more and more on China. And we shut down more and more factories. And we stop producing more and more and more. there's going to be a tipping point where China, after say so many years where we're buying everything from China, we're not producing a thing ourselves. China says, all right, fuck you, you got nothing, you have no factories, you have no nothing, you have no production. Now we're going to double our price. And we're the only game in town, right? So that's what they could theoretically do.
Okay.
You know, when we completely rely on them for everything, we don't rely on ourselves for anything else.
No, and I totally agree with you on that. I go, it's like we're not self-sustained right now, and I think because we've been doing so much outside the country that we're in fear of building our own enterprises and moving over and saying, you know what, forget about giving back to the people and building our own community and developing our own country to move forward on. So I'm not disagreeing with you. And like to me, like I just wanted to end with the federal funds. I think the rate depends on the complex analysis of it all. And I think it's a very complex thing because the condition and the assessment of how the rate change will impact the economy growth of inflation. So I think you need to tread very lightly on that part of it all because I get a feeling this is going to be a long little bout with the tariffs and what's going on. And I don't think it's solely just going to affect that. I think it's going to imbalance a lot of things. So I think a lot of people should tighten up and not, as you said, cause the effect of spending more money to help the growth of the economy. But I think you should, sit back for a second and not buy those new Gucci shoes and Louis Vuitton bags and stuff like that. But I think I'm for you when it comes to the investment portions of it. I think that if you have a very intelligent person that knows how to invest your finances, I think you should definitely talk about it to them because I think right now playing the margins and things like that, you got to make some big growth and some financial income on that. So,
well, spending is only going to get stimulated if they lower the rate, and lowering the rate is an art. And raising the rate's an art. It's not it's not like they can lower it 2%. They've never lowered it 2% or probably even 1%. They lower it a quarter of a point to a half a point. It's a very just like they raised it up. They raised it up very slowly to try to stop. And now they're at the point where they're going to lower it very slowly. And that's why the Fed meets 8 or 10 times a year. So 8 or 10 times a year, they can make a decision on the rate. It's not like we're going to meet once, we're going to lower the rate 2%, and we'll see what happens. It's a balancing act. You want to lower it too much. You don't want to lower it or raise it up too much. That's why it's only a quarter to a half a point.
Okay.
Which is nothing.
All right. So one of my other things that I'm going to bring into this conversation, which I thought was pretty, What's that?
I can't wait.
So
I said I can't wait.
Look, now we're on the topic of this whole thing, right? And I put into my thought process, which sometimes is strange. I'm always worrying about, I have friends that are still in the military. I have kids that are now signed up for the military. I worry about the border for them. I worry about the transitional thing of possibly a war, right? So now, I want to discuss with this whole thing from the tariffs, the protecting the border and things like that. So one of these stories that popped up to me the other day, right? Now, our borders and our people, I got to call out something that's just straight up crazy, bro. Like really crazy. Who the hell is Maryland, right? I didn't even know who this guy was. So I'm embarrassed to say I don't know every state senator. But this guy's name is Chris Van Hollen. You familiar with him? Okay, I'm not.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yep.
So this guy just got back from El Salvador, acting like he's some hero, bro. Acting like he's some great hero, making a whole trip to check on Kilmar Abrego. I'm not even going to apologize for saying his name wrong. Abrego, right? Garcia, who was deported due to an administration error. And get this, Chris, get this. It's been documented that this guy has ties. Once again, I'm saying it's documented, has ties with MS-13, right? That's real talk. Court records, police reports, all points to gang connections, okay? So, and here's the real kicker. This guy, once again, allegations. This guy beat his wife here in the US. That's a serious red flag. But instead of dealing with the facts, some folks want to make him out to be a victim or a hero. Nah, we see through that. Van Hollen's trip trying to make this guy look like some innocent victim is just politics at its worst. Meanwhile, the truth is clear. We got to stay tough on these issues, protect our families, and keep our borders secure. So, what do you think about that? Do you know much about that stuff? About what's going
Yeah,
on?
so this senator was a nobody, and he's just trying to get. Everybody wants their fame and notoriety, so that's started. That's
Is
why
he
on
is he
both.
running? Is he running for office though soon or something like that? Because he's a Democrat, right?
I think he's only been in since 2016, or I think 2016. So he might have been in or 2020. He hasn't been in that long. Whatever for a senator because they're lifers because they only work part time. But as far as the boy in El Salvador, he does have MS-13 tattoos, I guess, on his hands and fingers. And yes, there is a confirmed domestic abuse charge against his wife. And his wife says, well, I just did it just in case.
Well, here's the
No
thing,
judge is
Chris.
gonna give you.
So when I read it, he was beating her up in the car with the 4-year-old child in the back seat. So,
I wouldn't doubt it.
well, that's what it's.
But
Obviously, I'm reading the police
Yeah, no,
reports.
she's right, but that's what I'm saying. She's denying it, and she won't answer the question. She was asked the question, and she won't answer it. And like I said, it's in the police report. They're not making it up. I mean, trust me, nobody wants to deal with the domestic. They're not fun.
But Chris,
So yeah,
this guy jumped on a goddamn plane in plain English, right? With all the crap that's going on here. He jumps on a plane. Like, I don't understand it, bro.
he wants his notoriety, and he wants to get famous, and they're looking at any excuse to bring down the current administration. Like was it Bernie Sanders and AOC with the oligarchy and their.
Oh,
The funny
jeez.
part is, I saw the other. Yeah. Well, they're just trying to bring it down, and I saw the other day that they're flying around to all these different events on a private jet.
Yeah.
I mean, that we're paying for. I don't care how much my money's wasted.
I care.
wasted.
I care how much my money's wasted, bro.
I don't care. I don't care if it's even a penny. Dude, I'll skip going to the doctor because I don't want to freaking pay the doctor.
Yeah, you bitch about a co-payment. But look,
trust me, I got 4 co-pays going on at once.
Well, that's what happens. They're adults now. Have them handle it. But this shows me this whole situation is a prime example, bro, of how the system's broken. A guy with gang ties, domestic violence in his record, getting caught in the political games in the Trump admin, right? So they're not playing. They're doing what's right, even if the political elite want to spin it the other way. And let's not forget, this guy was deported because of legal mistakes, right? So it wasn't even like, okay, he ended up getting caught up in the loop, right? But it was all legal stuff that caused this, right? And despite having a protection order from the immigration judge, court records show he's got no criminal history, right? But the government's claim he's MS-13. That's just politics. His family, his wife, even his legal team say otherwise. But the system's more interested in headlines than the fact. So it's funny, like you just said, when it comes to politics, how people can just make things disappear and make it work for them by just throwing things against the screen and having more people follow out on that. Tommy wrote, your state governor is responsible for your private sector leaving.
She's a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just trying anything. And the crazy part is they won't admit to anything. Like they see that, they look at the police record about the beating. They're like, and they won't even answer the question. I heard an interview with our wonderful girl, Liz Warren, the other day, and she said, and the person interviewing her asked her straight up, as of, was it July 2024, you never saw Biden, lose any cognitive ability. And she's like, not that I saw. and it's been going on for freaking years. It's just, I just want people to tell the truth. Tell the truth. It's like,
here's the problem, Chris. Even if
he's the president,
even if people did see it, bro, which I have friends of mine that support him, which is not a problem. You whatever you want, just believe in what I believe. But they get mad if you tell them so you've never seen him. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not an argument. I'm asking you a question because you're trying to tell me something. So now I'm asking you something, and now you're defensive about it. I'm not defensive about it where people tell Trump is chauvinistic, Trump is a racist, Trump is this and that. I just listen to what people say, and then I go in and I investigate it. I don't say anybody's wrong in what they're saying, but I would like some truth, just like I believe the earth is flat and you think it's round. So I'm giving you proof every day. But
I just want people, to say the friggin' truth. And it's going to be coming out because the people who no longer kind of want to be in politics anymore or whatever, or maybe for their own financial interest, there are books coming out about Biden and what he really did. How he never led it his whole 4 years. He never led a cabinet meeting. Other people did it for him. He just kind of sat there smiling, so a lot of that stuff is coming out. People are going to write books to try to, make some money.
Which, that everybody does. So you don't blame him, and God bless him if his book becomes famous and he has a big seller and he gets some money from it. God bless him. Everybody writes a book. I wrote a book. No, I wrote a book. So what's wrong with that? Huh? I gave you the book.
I want to see the book.
What do you mean? I gave you the book. My book or his?
No.
Oh.
Relax, Roid Rage. I want to see the freaking.
Oh, now I'm Roid Rage, right? So, hey.
I want to see the book about Biden.
Oh, okay. All right. So one of the things that I was leading up to this about was obviously he got deported because why, Chris? Because he isn't a citizen, correct?
And he was here illegally, so.
And people keep
been deported.
Thank you.
Okay. He should have been deported, but maybe not. And it's questionable whether or not he should be in the prison or not. I don't care either way. If they let him out, that's fine. If they keep him in, that's fine. Just as long as he doesn't come back here, I don't care where he is.
See, but also, Chris, what I wanted to touch base on is people to understand this, okay? And here's the real truth, because I really searched this because I wanted to learn the laws on this one. So I want to discuss about visas and people that are here, right, on these visas. Visa is a privilege. It's not a right, okay? And people are arguing about this. It's not a right. It's granted by the government, and it's supposed to be based on law and order. Any violation of any law, any criminal activity in the privilege gets revoked, okay? No questions asked. The law is clear. If you break the law, you get out. It's right there in the Immigration Nationality Act, right? It's the Section 237A. I wanted everyone to look it up because everyone's like, oh, they can apply for a visa and come over. No, you can't. It's a decision of the government if you come over. And it states that an alien who has engaged in criminal activity or who violates the terms of their visa is subject to removal. It's not a fight. And the reason why I was bringing that is what really ticked me off is I'm speaking about a real victim that I'd like to mention. And President Trump recently hugged Patty Morin. Remember Patty Morin, the mother? Okay.
Yeah, Patty, I get that up on my computer right now.
Okay, yeah. So Patty Morin, she was the mother of Rachel Morin, right? And she was a mother of a 5-year-old from Maryland and was brutally raped and murdered while hiking. Her killer, Victor Martinez Hernandez, a fugitive from El Salvador, was convicted of her murder. Trump didn't just show sympathy. He invited Patty to the White House to stand with her, to support her, and to push for strict deportation policies. Now, I like what you said about this bozo ahead here, this senator guy from Maryland, Holland. You said it was a political stunt. Okay. I'd rather see a political stunt be this Karen than for some political stunt being somebody going to El Salvador to basically back up a gang member. It doesn't even matter, Chris. You know this, and I know you know this because I know this. You come to the joint and you're having signs of a gang member and you're not affiliated. Those gang members are gonna take you out inside without even thinking twice. You being a next state trooper, you know, you see someone with freaking signs of that in their MS-13s and their click is who they have on them. You know, legitimately, they're real. This guy's got click signs all over him, bro. Come on, it wasn't just on his hands or his neck. Why would you go and put one of the most vicious gangs ever and tattoo that on your body?
Right, because you have the gang themselves and the people who hate the gang trying to kill you, like you said. So you got everybody trying to kill you because you're not part of the gang, we're going to kill you, and you're a rival gang, so we're going to kill you. And just a quick thing to make it even worse: that Lauren lady was a mother of 5 children, not a 5-year-old.
Oh, I'm sorry, kids. Five. My apologies, everybody. I did say that.
5 kids have no mom.
Yeah, and look,
and there was another.
But hold on, I kind of want to stick to her. But Trump also stated to her while she was there, bro. He told her to her face, "Your daughter's looking down, proud of you. She's proud of you. Real compassion, real leadership." Meanwhile, Van Hollen, he's in El Salvador spending taxpayers' money chasing a guy linked to MS-13 while real victims here get ignored. Patty Morin barely got acknowledged from Van Hollen. He's more interested in politics than justice. Okay. So I find that so interesting that he's, as you said, doing this big hee-haw and look at me, I'm in El Salvador, I'm having a coffee with him and this and that. But yet, what did he do for this lady? It's clearly who's really fighting for our safety. Trump's out here working to remove violent criminals, protect our families, and keep us safe. Meanwhile, Van Hollen, he's just playing politics, wasting money, and ignoring the real issues that matter to the people. And let me be clear, if you decide to protest, do so lawfully. No inciting, no violence, no support of radical groups, no harms to others. If you're out here supporting violence of extremist groups, you're not just breaking the law, you're endangering our communities and our future. We stand for the law and order, and we don't tolerate any threats. So the reason why I had brought that also, I wanted to like just interchange that together was it's remember a visa is a privilege, not a right. Break the law, violate the terms, and you're out. It's simple as that. The system's supposed to serve the people, protect the citizen, and uphold the rules of law. That's what real leadership looks like, right? And the reason why I was saying that is once again, it's between the protests that are happening, all these people that are being taken, and they're like, this girl was such a good student and did this at this school at Harvard or Boston University, and they were just protesting. No, you were being radicals. You were supporting a cause that you shouldn't have supported, that if anybody else did, you would have got arrested for. So, like, I think all this entwines into one thing to show people that, yeah, there's both sides of the story, but it seems like there's never the right side. Everyone tends to support the other side. But go ahead. You were saying there's something else off the Morin thing.
Not the Morin, just I don't know the name, I forgot it, but somebody, another, I be negative, but another illegal who killed somebody several years ago is they're talking they're gonna possibly give him early parole. So I don't remember who that was, but I saw that in the news and how the family was losing their shit, because they were gonna give him early parole, which is just mind boggling.
Tommy, I'm going to tell you, I hate to tell you this, bro. So the phone that you're sending stuff to is actually my personal, and that's what's running the Facebook. So I'm also Facebook Live at the moment. So I can't look at messages that go over there. So I do apologize for that. But if you put it on the screen, I could see it. But there's like so much that's going on right now, and I can understand. Like I know for a fact, people are having anxiety attacks. People are socially feeling awkward to speak. Friends now are separating from each other, all to do from political standpoints of all of it. Like lately, everything I'm hearing is I'm unable to go to work because Trump's president. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out because he's president. Did you see what he's done? He's been in office since January. I'd like anyone to explain to me what he's done, and how it's affected you. It's like I hear so many things, but I just don't see him. Do I think at times he's a little out there? Absolutely, I'm not disagreeing, but I don't see the value of anybody's stories that are coming out my way.
Yeah. Let me just quick update on that thing that I just mentioned. I got the name. Obviously, it happened in California. So he was doing over 100 miles an hour drunk, and he killed two teenagers. And California says it all. And he got a 10-year sentence for killing two teenagers drunk, and they're letting him out after 3 years. So 3 years for killing two teens.
And he's an illegal.
Correct.
So where does he go? Where does he go when he gets out?
Well, the feds are trying to stop it, and if they can't stop it and or convict him on something of their own, I guess I assume they'll deport him, because that's really all they can do. I mean, the feds are trying to stop it, so it does say that the federal officials have placed a detainer on the convict to prevent his release back to the public. But remember, states don't have to tell the feds when they're going to release them, and if the feds say I'll be there in an hour, and they say, well, we'll be done booking in 40 minutes, and they'll just release them after 40 minutes, and the feds will be like 15 minutes away, and it'll be gone. That's the way it's always been.
So one of our people, Christine, that's watching, says 2 years. So wrong. Why is he in our prison where we pay for him? Well, you're absolutely right, Christina. Why are we paying for him, which is costing the state probably over hundreds of thousands of dollars, and especially if he needs medical care, it costs even more. So he's an illegal.
You kind of have to do that. You kind of have to do that. I don't like it either, because you have to do that, because if they just straight up deported him, then he just go back to his own country and not serve any jail time. So, well, unfortunately,
I could tell you a story firsthand about something like that. So when I was injured, which many moons ago, right? The person that shot me basically got deported, and not only when he got deported, he did a little time here, and when he wrapped up, they deported him because he was just a violent person. He shot a cop, years before me, young kid. But when he got deported, the country he got deported to, he put together a gang, and they became a hit crew, and they've killed people over there. They finally picked him up after he killed the group, like many people. He was a hitman. He became a hitman in the country. He had an organization, and he got sentenced, to life. And here's the sad part: life is like 10 years. 10 years, and then he gets out again, and he'll only be in his 50s, early 50s.
Well, actually, I got a good solution for everybody. And Christine, El Salvador's prison, although El Salvador's prison has plenty of room. So, like I said, it's going to cost us way more. So, what we do is, so when that person gets, this person, that gets convicted, we send them down to El Salvador. We give them whatever, a couple of bucks we negotiate with them per prisoner, and they keep them in El Salvador, which saves us a ton of money. We say, give him to El Salvador and say, he's got 10 years, do his 10 years, and we pay El Salvador directly, because that prison is over. That's a cool place to work. Over 40,000, capacity of 40,000 inmates. And they only have like 14, 15,000 in there now. So we could send a whole bunch of people there and just pay them. I know whatever we pay them is going to be 10% of what we pay.
Listen, dude, I watched this TV show a long time ago, and it was about this guy who got sentenced to prison by mistake, and he really didn't do it. He got sentenced to jail for murder, but it wasn't him. And he lived the style, but then he goes around the world to go to prison. So they check him in as an inmate. Nobody knows that he's there. And the prisons out in those areas, bro, there's no American. No wonder why everyone thinks prison here is a joke. They're holy Christ. They're ruthless, bro. They are ruthless. Tommy writes, Trump is making life better for us. All doing the right thing isn't always the popular thing. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. But, Chris, I'm not disagreeing with you that. He also writes, Tom Homan is a great border czar. Get ready, Boston. He's not done yet. Oh, it's just I don't
That's
even.
what
Go ahead.
I'd work for him. That's what I'd like to work for. I'd work for him in Boston.
Really?
Yeah, wouldn't you? Come on,
Listen,
fight the good fight.
dude, I'd love to fight the good fight, but at this age, man, I just want to make things right. I just want to, like I say to you over and over again, it's too tiring to argue with people. It's too tiring. It's like I don't understand it. What happened to the world of simple conversations and you know what, laughing and having a great time? And you know what I watch a lot of is if I flick through Instagram or something, I come through these old commercials and they really make me laugh. Like those ice creams that came with those toilet paper rolls that you would push up, you'd go and run, and then you'd get all excited to lick the bottom of it to get that gum at the bottom of it. Like I think of those times all the times when I sit there and I look at people and I go, I wonder if they've ever had that opportunity as a child to enjoy something like that. To put a freaking card on your pedal bike so you could be a motorcycle and ride with your friends and things like that. It's like you don't see that anymore. Drive by a park now, see all this stuff. There's so many people that are so politically at war with each other that they can't even have their kids play together anymore. Easter, I hear people, I ask them, how was Easter? Oh, it started all good. The next thing you know, politics popped up and I went home. And I'm like, what? Like literally, look at what's going on with us as humans. Like now we're fighting over these things. I don't even know what to say.
Yep.
Well, oh, by the way,
Who knows?
I want to bring up something because I don't really know much about it, but I think maybe we should look into it. But to be totally honest with you, the only thing I care about is somebody had passed from this. Step one, I still haven't heard anything about the Delgado case, Garcia Delgado. There's still nothing going on with that, and it's still shameful. But also was the some people have been writing to me going, why don't you talk about the Karen Reed case? To be totally honest with you, I believe she had some part of it. I don't think she's absolutely innocent as everybody makes her out to be. But I see how much it bothers people. So maybe it should be something we talk about. How do you feel about that, Chris?
It's tough. There's so much to unpack. It's like I was playing on my computer doing work stuff, and I had it on in the background because they're televising it now. And I mean, I listened to some guy in the background read text for like 45 minutes.
Right?
It's like, oh my God. This is just, and they were inconsequential texts. They were like stupid.
Yep.
Is like, they're talking about no hot water. And I'm like, why the fuck, are they going into this stupid minutia, which is bullshit. So it's a lot to unpack. I mean, I think the getting rid of their dog, replacing the hardwood floors in their house, all that shit just says, what the fuck?
Absolutely. I agree with you.
I think the state trooper who said that all those scratches on his arm was from when the SUV hit him. And as it drove by, it made like 20 different scratches in 20 different angles. And I'm like, it's like, Jesus, you're embarrassing yourself with that answer. It's just like, better to say, I don't know, than make up some bullshit answer that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I mean, you listen to the defense, you think she's innocent, listen to the prosecutor, you think, well, maybe not.
I think
from the prosecutor.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I know one thing, like the way I look at things and dealing with the amount of trials I've been in cases I've had to deal with personally, and especially a lot of them were violence, but everyone elaborates a story a little bigger than it should be. So I think both sides did it. And I think now you're getting caught in your tails, as you said. Like, listen, it's the middle of winter. Like, would the guy have a sleeveless shirt on that he has scratches on him? You know what I mean? It was dragged out. He had dog bites on his arm or something like that. I really don't know much about the case because I really wasn't giving it time. Especially when I seen people standing out to the curb like it was one big party and free her signs and stuff like that. And it kind of bothers me. I don't care who someone is, but someone's dead. You know what I mean? And it's not somebody I knew, but if you want to hold your compassion and your support, I think there's a way of doing it, but not jumping up and down just to get in the cameras and making sure news catches you supporting her. And but you know what? If she's innocent, God willing, she gets out. I know right now she's up to what, $5 million in attorney fees, and she
Oh
has
yeah.
she has what, a bunch of book offerings, movie offerings, all these things. She's 45 years old. One way or another, she's got to come out wealthy, and that's sad to say because
Yeah.
there's still somebody missing. There's still someone dead.
Yeah. There's over $1 million just in food and lodging for the freaking attorneys. Because she has to put them up in a hotel. Freaking pay for all their meals. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I loved one of the
I'm sure
comments.
she'll.
Somebody had said
Good.
this to me that kind of threw me off. They said, because every time I look, she always seems to be smiling. She always seems to be grinning about something. And then I thought it was maybe just a nervous twitch. And then somebody said in an article she had made a statement that she thinks of all the money that she owes them while listening to them, and she kind of just smirks. I still didn't get that, so I'm trying to find it because I want to see exactly what that meant.
Yeah, but you know what? If you know you're innocent, going to have a different face on. If you know you're guilty, and she has to be happy and upbeat, because if she's all sad and bitchy, people will hold it against her, and there's a definite certain amount of sympathy. So she has to be upbeat. I mean, if you think you're innocent, if someone pulls you in, to the police station and for murder, just the initial, and you did it, you're gonna be sweating like a fucking pig. But if
Yeah.
you didn't did it and you have a great alibi, you're gonna be like, yeah, all right, let's go, whatever. Need an attorney? No, I don't need an attorney. Let's go. So, I mean, she has to be upbeat because public opinion is huge.
I don't know, but if it's something you want to get into, and start to research or whatever, we could definitely look into it. Particularly, I never really got caught up in it, but I did get caught up with the
Well,
person who backs her, because the only reason why I was laughing about that was I remember many moons ago. Um, I'm gonna say easily about 8 or 9 years ago, you were like, "Oh my god, I love this guy, Turtle Boy," and blah blah blah. Then all of a sudden, the next time I see anything by him, it's him supporting her, and I go, "Oh, there's Chris's boy, Turtle Boy."
yeah,
I
no,
started laughing.
he exposed people doing fucked up things, which is good.
Yeah, but didn't he
He
do his
exposed.
own messed up
Oh
things
no,
himself?
he's fucked up. All right, one of the things, I don't love him, but one of the things I talked about was he exposed some lady at an ice cream stop with like an 18-year-old kid bringing in an ice cream, and it was on film. So she would do, she'd pay $10 for whatever an ice cream cone. She'd give him 100. He'd give her back 4 20s and a 10. So what she would do is really quick. She'd take one of the 20s and stuff it in her pocket real quick, and she'd still have her hand up here, and she'd say, "Oh, look, you only gave me 70," and because she stuffed the 20 in her pocket, and the kid would say, "Oh, okay," and he'd give her another 20. So she was actually swindling, freaking these kids who are going to get in trouble at the end of the day when the register doesn't match.
She's
For
awesome.
$20 at a time.
She's awesome, bro.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
That's like Peter.
Go do it. I'm gonna go do it now.
Remember what Peter said? That's what he used to do when he used to go park cars. He would take quarters from the ashtray because nobody would notice it. I don't know. If you want, we can touch base on it, but maybe someone should investigate Turtle Boy. Didn't he go through a lot of a divorce, cheating on his wife, and all that crap?
Yeah, he banged that trooper that he was bad mouthing.
Yeah, bad mouther, and then hooked up with her, right?
Hey, well, that's one way to silence somebody.
I'll tell you what. Maybe we should set up a boxing match since you love him so much, and I don't really care for him. Me and him.
I don't love him. All right, I don't love him. I just like the fact that he exposed people to do mess up things to little kids. Which is not
no, I'm with you on that.
He's a weirdo a little bit. Everybody's a little bit weird, but yeah. So I mean, we could. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do some updates on maybe a weekly basis if anything important came out, and then continue on with another subject matter.
Okay, I know Tommy sends me. Tommy sends me a lot of things, so Tommy's got some great ideas, and I appreciate him. So maybe if Tommy comes up with some good stuff to touch base on, we'll just move on to that one. But anything else you want to
get that attorney in? Get the attorney.
Yes. Annalisa, she told me she was going to come on in. I would love to have her in. Maybe next week we'll be able to set up a guest showing for her. And I know I want to have Dr. Wong back on because we want to discuss about the GLP-1 and what's going on with everyone using it as a dietary supplement. And also, she's running the HRT now, which is the testosterone replacements and stuff like that for the body. So it's actually blowing up. Everyone's asking for it and would like to just touch base on stuff like that with it. But listen, anything else you want to throw in, Chris?
No, I'm good, brother.
Listen, everyone, the only thing I want to tell everyone is thank you so much. Please follow at Security Tales on YouTube and hit subscribe, and please hit the bell. Stay sharp, Boston. We got to keep our eyes open, support the folks who actually care about our safety and stand firm for our country's future. I really appreciate everyone that tuned in. Thank you, everybody. And Dr. Wong says she can't wait. She can't wait. Thank you, Dr. Wong. Thank you, everyone. Mad love and respect. God bless. All right, Chris. All right, brothers. Same here, brother. Uh-oh, Laney wrote, anyone illegal needs to be deported. Agreed. Thank you, everyone. You still there, Chris?